Hey, 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 welcome. I'm Jammer on the spur of the moment. I'm doing a review of Huey Lewis's in the News sports album. Came out in 1983. Um, the start, 1983, very happening year, right before Reagan's second term and so forth. But sports album, man, by Huey Lewis in the News. It was an album that had hits hitting harder than like a home run. I mean, it was just from the bottom of the ninth, a home run being hit. One song after the other, big hits. I mean, that's right off the bat, harder rock and roll, right? I have the karaoke versions playing, but this will give you an idea right here. I mean, let's put it. This is like a love letter to rock and roll, man. I mean, it's a pulsating beat. Saxophone is in there, and I mean it's awesome. The spirit of every great American city out there. I mean, it's just it's like an anthem to rock and roll. It's like, man, the heart of rock and roll is still beating. I mean, to see the heart of rock and roll is still beating. I mean, that's awesome song in itself, and was a big hit for them. I can't. If I had time to research it and actually put it together, I could probably have named some of the top tens that came off of here right off the bat. But I'm not going to get deep in there. This is spur of the moment review. Hard rock and roll. I remember playing when this song came out. I remember playing it. I had an album and I played it, and it was awesome. Just really cool song, and people loved it. The next one of the list was Heart and Soul. I mean, come on. This is a banger that kind of like blended pop with a bit of edge, man. It was like, you know, the guitar riff is iconic. 2 o'clock this morning. I mean, and Huey's, I mean, his vocals were just full of charisma, man. It was just rocking. It was the kind of track that just kind of makes you want to roll down the car windows and just turn up the volume and fly, man. It was an awesome song. Uh, it's just amazing what happened to music. Heart and soul. And then, after all that, they do a song right after that, Bad is Bad. It's a song that is kind of bluesy and rock. It was laid back, had a different flavor than the album itself. It got a swampy groove. It was storytelling with a vibe, and it was like dip 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 doo wop. Dip 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 doo wop. I mean, dip 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 doo wop. I mean, it's just a cool. And then, Huey, and the crazy thing about it, Huey Lewis and the News was cool, and they were kind of square to a degree. Hence the song that came out on the following albums, "The Hip to Be Square" and all of them. Went uptown to see my cousin. Plays guitar like a chainsaw buzzing. Anyway, it was just a kind of playing off the fact that people were saying, "Oh, you're bad, man, you're bad," and Michael Jackson was bad and all that stuff. Bad is bad. Talking about sometimes bad is really bad. Then right after that, man, you talk about oh, this is rocking, ain't it? And it's probably the most famous track on the album. It was kind of got pure, like ear candy, It was just a song's energy that was completely infectious and just overpowering. It's a pop rock perfection, man. Just the right amount of funk to get you up and moving and everything. You talk about hit after hit. When you can get a CD, a song, granted today it's downloads, right? So there's not really an album per se. Not like back in the day when you could buy singles and you bought the album. That was it. And the same thing with when it went to CDs and everything like that. Today it's downloads, and granted, some songs will get downloaded more often than not, but than others. But this is awesome stuff here. I'm going to tell you, this is sleep all day. I want a new drug. Talk about the love that he had for a woman that, and trying to get something that makes him feel like he's with her, There's nothing out there except her, right? And then right after that came Walking on a Thin Line. I mean, this one adds some weight to the whole collection of this album. Just the lyrics that touch on an emotional aftermath of the Vietnam War. It's got a drive and beat. The tone showing Huey and the News can do more than just feel good tunes, man. Yeah, it's showing some depth, Yet, it's infectious, man. It gets you up and moving. That's one thing I would say about like a lot of the '80s music. It would get, even though it might be touching on some serious topics, it'd get you up, get you moving, get you doing things. Man. On a thin line, wandering all the time. All right, so the next one, if this is it, well, actually, it's Finally Found a Home, but I couldn't find Finally Found a Home. That song right there, Finally Found a Home, it was just a feel-good track with a bouncy type of rhythm. It had a chorus that's impossible not to sing along with it. Finally found a home, Talking about having a place where he belongs, It was upbeat, positive. It was just incredibly catchy, and everything. And then right after that was If This Is It, which is this song right here. It was a doo-wop type influenced song that kind of shined through the kind of shined on this ballad here. And it's sweet, it's soulful, and the harmonies on it make you just fall over, man. It just Lewis's plea for clarity about a relationship. I mean, it was just, anybody can relate to that. I mean, trying to figure out, hey, are we in love or are we not in love? And if this is just it, let me know. I mean, just want to know if this is it. Please let me know if this is love. Yeah. Let me know. Yeah. I mean, awesome songs, right? You cracked me up. This was an awesome one. It was fun, kind of quirky and everything. I can't play all that because that's the actual song because I couldn't find the karaoke version of it. But it was fun. It was quirky. It was kind of fun, playful type energy to the album. It got a boppy rhythm. It just showed a lighter side of the band, and it's a song that kind of just makes you smile, and everything. And then right after that was the Honky Tonk Blues. That's another one. This one right here really was something. It was kind of like a crazy cover of Hank Williams' classic song, but yet Huey made it his own. Huey and the News made this song their own, and it was just kind of pure rockabilly type energy and everything. And it was just a reminder of the band's roots and ability to, basically make any genre of music their own. Overall, the whole album has stood the test of time. It really has, and it's a near perfect blend of pop and blues that just kind of captures the essence of the early '80s. Every track is a hit, and it's in its own right, and it just makes this a record kind of like a must listen to. For anyone to really appreciate feel good music with heart and soul. This is the album you have to listen to. And Huey Lewis in the News might have been riding high on the charts with this particular album, but they were also laying like the groundwork, the bricks, basically cementing their legacy in rock history. Because let me tell you, they didn't. I mean, this album was awesome. I mean, it was. We used to bet back in the day when we got an album or a cassette tape of all the of a band, an album basically released, the collection of songs. If you could get more than one or two songs on it that you really liked, that was big hits, you were doing good. So most of the time you would try to buy the singles, and what they would do is they would hold back on releasing it as a single in order for you to buy the album to get the song. Nowadays is you just download it. But back then, if you couldn't get a single, you had to buy the album to get that song. And so they would purposely try to get you to buy the album by doing that, by not releasing it. And I remember Huey Lewis and the News, they had such big hits that it was like one after the other was being released, and one after the other. You could basically buy the whole album as singles and everything. And they might have made more money that way, just buying singles. But anybody with any kind of feel for the music and everything would buy the album, and that whole album was a bargain because you got a hit after hit, and it was a feel good music, and you were just rocking with it and everything. But like I said, they didn't just sit back on their laurels on this album. No, they followed it up. Right after that, I think they came out with four, if I'm correct, and they had a lot of hits. But that is a story for another time. I mean, granted, you know, if you're not into rock and roll, if you not see, this is before The Power of Love and Back to the Future. I mean, they really came out big right after sports. Man, they hit big with another one. They were riding high in the '80s, boy. I mean, they had a few hits, maybe one or two hits in the '70s, or going right into the early '80s. But this was the near the peak. This was the climb upward for Huey Lewis and the News. Part of the climb upward, where they were actually gaining a lot of ground and following and everything like that. Yeah, they came out right after that. I think it was for. Let me see. I'm just curious. Uh, this was released in September 15th, 1983 by Chrysalis Records. The album was a huge success, reaching number one on the Billboard 200. On June 30th, 1984, the remaining charts and remaining on the charts for 160 weeks. It was also the band's most popular and commercially successful studio album, selling 7 million copies in the U.S. alone. 7 million? Oh. And ranking second on the Billboard year-end album chart for 1984, behind Michael Jackson's Thriller. That will tell you, they had competition. I mean, for them to rank that high, Michael Jackson, Thriller album, big success. They ranked that close. And let me tell you, 83, 84, those years were big for music and movies for that matter. Billboard Hot 100 include Heart and Soul, The Heart of Rock and Roll, If This Is It, I Want a New Drug, and with Heart and Soul and The Heart of Rock and Roll earning Grammy Award nominations. Sports also did internationally, with most of its singles charting in the top 40 in multiple countries. And it's gone 7 times platinum. So, I mean, let's face it, awesome album followed. Um, the 1983 album Sports by Huey Lewis and News was a huge success. Yes, yes, yes. Um, uh, oh, wait a minute. No, I'm sorry. Did that? No, that wasn't featured on Sports, was it? I didn't think Power of Love was on Sports. Yeah, see, that's wrong. See, they were AI. You know, that's really something. Hard rock and roll, bad is bad. Walking on a thin line. If This Is It, Honky Tonk Blues, Heart and Soul, I Want a New Drug, Finally Found a Home, and You Crack Me Up is what was on that album. Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't think that they had. That's the funny part. You know, you go to. Just cracks me up. You crack me up. You really do. AI is like ass, you know. Um, okay. Huey Lewis and News had. All right, Sports in 1983, and then they followed it up with Four, which was 1986. And I think Four had Jacob's Ladder, Doing It All for My Baby, and all that stuff. Uh, where's the Power of Love? Oh, yeah, okay. Four also had The Power of Love on it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so they followed it Sports with Power Four, and that ended up being a big, massive hit. Maybe another time I'll dive into that. But right now, this album ranks as one of my collection's top albums. It harkens to a time when things were still complicated, but a little less complicated in the sense of a little less people out there with delusions of. I'm sorry, but I don't want to live in your delusions, and I don't want to live in the political climate that we're in right now, which is horrific. I mean, nobody can agree on anything. Uh, yeah, I know We may not completely agree, but we give a little on both sides and agree not to agree. Agree to disagree, basically, on certain stuff. And we still respect each other back then, and we still respected each other's opinions. And today, that's not happening, but that's another thing. Anyway, thanks for watching, commenting, liking, subscribing, and sharing. Just to spur the moment, I thought I'd share my thoughts on this album. It really was an awesome time and an awesome album in general. Man, the good times we had listening to this music and the memories we made. When songs come to mind in a person's life, I mean, granted, each one's different. Each one has different likes and dislikes, preferences, and so forth. But I'm going to tell you, this was real music back then. Today's music, I like a few things, but the majority of it is been sanitized, been basically formulated, sanitized, and nobody has talent, real talent anymore. Auto tune and all that other crap. We'll clean it up and in the recording and the mixing and everything like that. These people, granted, Huey has ear issues and all that stuff, so he can't really sing anymore. But before that happened, I heard him sing early 2015, 2016, something like that, 2017, in person. And he sounded just like his albums, and the band sounded just as tight back then as they did on their albums and everything like that. A lot of people from that genre, that time period, they really had the talent and they really knew how to use it. Today, it's, computer generated, formulated. The algorithms, they figure out what they want to use and what to do and all that stuff, and then they just make a song to reflect that, and that's what you get. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. Jammer. Just an album review. Huey Lewis News Sports.